This conference will now be recorded.
Hi and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this second webinar here with NC Squared and Distribution Engine. Today we're going to be talking about some tips and tricks in Distribution Engine. And this is kind of the agenda that we're going to go through, and I'm going to talk about it as well, a little bit about this webinar. Okay. So the idea here is for us to show you some less known or less used features that we have of Distribution Engine. That way your life hopefully will make your life easier, or you can even achieve something that you didn't know you could achieve with Distribution Engine. The idea is for me to go through a walkthrough of the features and talk a little bit about it in the next 15 minutes, and also have a Q&A session from about 20 for about 10 minutes for a total of 25 minutes. Feel free to post your questions on chat. I'll try to get most of them answered as soon as I finish presenting. I'm running this by myself today, so it's going to be not as quick as it would be if we had more people today, but it's fine. The other thing that I want to say, the idea after you finish this is that you know there are some really nice hidden features that are not so obvious, and that you'll be able to know and hopefully make the most out of it. Okay. So first, I'm going to start with territory and territory tags. Many of you already know we have a territory classifier, but a lot of you guys don't. I see that a lot on the calls that I have with many of our customers. So if you're using geo allocations, it really helps because you don't have to create a massive amount of tags by yourself. You can use our territory classifier to stamp the record and also create those tags automatically, and I'm going to show you how. So I'm just going to jump into Distribution Engine. So one thing that I recommend is going to the Distribution Engine app. I see a lot of people using on the sales one, things like that. The downside that I see of that is that you might not get all the features or even know that a feature existed there. So I'm going to go to the classifier. But you're going to say, hey, Bernardo, I don't see the classifier on my Distribution Engine list. Oh, that's easy. It's because you've been with us for a while. The way that Salesforce is set up, it doesn't allow you to actually us to push that tab onto you if it's not an install. So you just go to apps here on the setup, app manager. You find Distribution Engine, hit edit on the top, on the right hand side here. And here you can pick all the tabs that are showing. So I had the classifier already in. So it's just going to be here. Just drag it to the right, move to the position that you want. And you can add other stuff. So for example, in my case, I have leads and dashboards because it's something that I use a lot. So it does really help me when I'm doing things in Distribution Engine. Okay. So jumping right back into our classifier. So here you create your maps, and inside your map, you create your territories. Okay. Territories can be by postcode or zip code level, state level. That really helps, especially if you're talking the US, which has over 50 states. And also you can look at on country level as well. So you can see as Europe here, and you could just pick another one by just clicking here. Okay. So this is how the classifier works. And then it's going to leverage the information that you have on your record, may that be a lead, a contact, opportunity, or a case, and tag that with the right information. So that creates the tags. So I'm just going to jump into my tags here. And here are my tag collections. And tags are either skills that your agent have or characteristics of the record that they work on. And your classifier tags is the one that starts by map. So see my map enterprise, but I also have character skills like language or characteristics like industry. Okay. So here are all my tag collections, and I'm just going to filter on my map one so you can see. And it's pretty easy. You just drag and drop to that person if they want them to work. But let's say that you have many tags. So for example, I want to drag all the industry all the way to lead source. So you can click on agriculture, Control-Shift-Click, it allows you to multi-select a lot of them. But you say, oh no, actually, I just want the languages, so I can go click here. So Portuguese, hold Control, Russian, Spanish, and you just drag and drop to that person. The next thing that I would like to point out for you is something that not many people know that it exists. It's the ability to clone a tag, a person and their tags. So I can use Andrea as my template. So I just click on her name here. And here's all the tags that she has. So I'm going to say, okay, no, I actually only want the languages. So I select those two by click here, and there's a clone button here on the top. I'm just going to increase the zoom because it's going to make things easier for everyone. And then there's two options. You can either append it or override. Okay, so I can say, okay, append it to myself and then clone to selected users. Okay, now if we go to myself here and we separate the language, you're going to see that I now have English and Spanish as well. But I do not speak German. This is not just an example, okay? And now I'm going to show you how to use tags, okay? So we have the territory tags, we have static tags, and this is the tag that you use when you know just a specific set of people should work certain kinds of records. So think of like a high priority or hot leads, for example, or MQLs. And you can also use dynamic. So think language. So language can be a dynamic field, and I'm going to show you and explain better on the distributors themselves. Okay. So I just jump back to my distribution teams here. I'm going to jump on my webinar team. And here are my distributors. Okay. So you're just going to hit edit here so you can see things. And the way you set tags is here on the team member filter. So by default, it's unticked. So when you tick here, it brings you options. You're going to pick tags. The first I'm going to show to you is static. And I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to say, for example, size 10K plus. Okay. So what I'm saying is that when the rating is hot, it's an MQL and the data enrichment tool is done, only send those records to whoever have the size up plus 10K plus, because I know these are the people that are more capable of working my best leads. Okay. And it's going to round robin to whoever has those tags inside that team. You can use dynamic as well. So I'm going to use language here. So this is my collection, and I'm matching the language field on my lead. What that means is think like this: a Spanish-speaking person comes in, and it's gonna look at that field, say, oh, Spanish, who has the Spanish tag, and then it's gonna round robin between that person. And that goes for, if it comes English, then it's gonna look at the other one, Portuguese, and tags are free tags, so you can put as many values as you want there, and whatever value makes sense to you. That saves you a lot of having a lot of repeat distributors. Okay, and the last one is the territory. It works the same principle as the dynamic, but it's all out of the box. So you just pick territory, and then it's going to match to whoever has that tag. Okay, that brings us to the test tool. So why do we have it, and why it's good to know that's there? So the test tool is really useful when you're doing changes or when you're just implementing something distribution engine for the first time. It allows you to go to a record and understand how distribution engine sees it, and then you can understand why someone is not seeing that, not being distributed, and understand. One thing that you have to be careful is that the owner of the record is not shown on the test tool, so everything could match, but still your owner is not correct. Okay. So I'm just going to jump right back into distribution engine, and you can see the test tool in two places. First place that I'm going to show you is on the distribution console, which gives you an overview of everything that's happening in distribution engine. You're going to click on the queues here. Okay. And then here gives you an overview of your team, the objects being distributed, the distributor, and the queue. And what I've done is I had it here already, a lead ID, but if you don't know how to get one, I'm just gonna show you. I'm just open my leads view, and I'm gonna jump into one. And the lead ID sits here on the URL right here on the top. So between lead and view, you can also expose that if you want on a custom field like I did. Okay. So just going back to distribution console, and here you have the test option. So you just click here. So I'm gonna test my MQL. First, it's gonna match the filters that you have on your record. So okay, it matches the status, but as you can see, it doesn't match the rating. The lead source is not an MQL, and the enrichment tool is not done. Say, okay, fine. I know these things have to happen, but I wanna see if it matches anyone on my team, okay? So here it looks like it matched, but always remember you have to paste and hit go here, and then it will give you the real results. So it's not matching anyone. And say, oh, why not? It doesn't show me, but if you click here, it's gonna give you more information. So it's looking for dynamic. So my language field is empty, but that person needs to be either Spanish or English speaking to go to Andrea. And I can go to Helen, for example, and same. And another thing to point out, Helen is not available. That's why she's grayed out here. So even if it matched her, it wouldn't assign because she's not available to be receiving any records. Okay. And the other place that it sits on your distributor. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump on my teams here again and go here on my distributors, and you just click on their name here. Okay, and here you're gonna see there's the test distributor. Okay, so it's gonna work the same ways as you saw before. Also, a quick pointer, you can also preview distributor, and this will give you like any records that match, and also the recent distributions that were done by this distributor specifically. Okay. Also, we wanted to talk about queue and automations considerations. Okay. So it's important that you clean up your queues. A queue that's polluted with a lot of records that don't match any distributors slows down the system. Okay, so think like this. I only distribute MQLs, but on my queue sits 50,000 non-MQLs, and you have just 10 that actually can be distributed. So this takes time. So there are two ways to do things here. You can use the archiver that comes with distribution engine out of the box for leads and cases. And I'm just gonna show where it sits. Okay, so it sits under settings, distribution settings. And here you pick how long the record has to be archived. And it sits on a temporary queue. And if anything changes on that record or something that allows it to match back a distributor, will send back to the original queue you're distributing from, and then distribute it correctly. So you don't have to worry about records being lost there forever. As soon as they match something, they will be distributed. Okay. Also, you could create Salesforce automation rules to do things and make sure that you clean up. It could be a process builder, you could be anything, a workflow rule, whatever you think it's best, and then you can build it yourself in case you're not using leads and cases. If you are, I do recommend using the archive because it's a lot easier. Also, one thing that's very important is if you have an automation tool, an enrichment tool that automatically enrich your records, beware that once it hits the queue, distribution engine will distribute as long as it matches all the criteria. So what we recommend is if you go to your team and we recommend you create a custom field, and that custom field will be fulfilled once your automation tool is ready. So as you can see, I have the data enrichment done, and only when it equals true that it will be distributed. So that way I got all the data that I had, it became true, that field, and then it got distributed. That way it doesn't go through the wrong distributor or to the wrong person as well. Okay. Other quick tips. To ensure ownership, we do recommend you using the related records with lead matching capabilities. So you can match a lead using distribution engine to a contact, account, or another lead. And you can also use the related owner algorithm to do matches of, for example, contacts that have a relationship to another parent record, and you can match to the owner of that record and then assign to that person. It's important to mention distribution engine runs on a waterfall. That means that the order that you see here of your distributors is the order things gets distributed, so you can just drag and drop to change the order. And that's also valid for your team. So the order that you see the teams here is the order things are distributed. So you just drag and drop like this. Okay. All configuration changes are logged. So if we jump here on this team and I click on my, for example, MQL hot leads here, on the bottom here, there's going to be distribution change history, and it's going to put like all the information that has been changed. So this is really good to help you with all the information that you need to know what's going on if someone changed it without your knowledge, so you can go there and check. Email notifications from distribution engine are sent from your Salesforce org, and that means that it will send when your Salesforce org decides it can send. And it's important for you, before you make sure that you're not receiving, check your spam folder, because things can go there because of spam rules. You can check your Salesforce email logs, and here's a link on the documentation for it as well. And also remember to enable the workflow rule. And to do that, it's very simple. You just go here on the setup, type workflow. It's going to be workflow rules. Okay. And here you just click activate, and then you will activate, and things will start be sent out from distribution engine on assignment or whenever you want things to be mentioned. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is licenses and user removal. So licenses are counted towards a team member and or managed packets assigned to a person. So a managed packet works for people to be able to see distribution engine, and a team member is just a person that's part of a team. Okay. To see that, you go to distribution settings, and you see here you have licenses. So I have 19 of 20, and you'll be able to see the managed package licenses here, and also if they are a team member. But I say, okay, Jamie is leaving the team, so I can remove his managed packet license here. Hit OK. And then I can just remove him from all teams as well. Okay. Jamie only had one team, but if we click, for example, on Andrea, she had 5 teams. So instead of jumping into 5 teams, you would just remove them from using this button, and makes life a lot easier. And to be honest with you, I learned about this page the other day, so it's very hidden, but it's very useful. And I had chats of people having difficulties having to remove many people from many teams, so that will help them a lot, and you hopefully. So this is kind of all that I had to show of tips and tricks that I could think of. There are more things, of course, but now I'm gonna open for questions. Feel free to type it on chat, or even speak up if you want to. Yes, Hannah, thank you very much for a question. Yes, so at the moment, yes. So you're not gonna lose the history, but you're gonna lose what team they were part of. So the distribution log will be there, but you're not gonna know what team they were part of when it got distributed. Okay, that's what's gonna happen when you remove someone. We are working on changing that as well. We have I'm pretty sure we have a feature request, so that's perpetual. That way you can have the history of like what team they were part of when that record was assigned, because it's important for you to reporting and history and things like that. Okay. Anyone else has any questions, anything they would like to know? Okay, there's another question there. Nice. Thank you, Robert. I'm just reading it right now. So no, at the moment we cannot put the related information there. So the information has to sit on the record that's being distributed for dynamic tags. Okay. So sorry, I forgot to mention. Robert asked about dynamic tags using related information. So at the moment, the information has to sit on the record. Okay. So we cannot do a related one. So we cannot do a hop to another object. So think of, like, for example, if you're distributing a contact, a related account, and you want to know, like, whoever works there, for example, an account type, yeah, it's not possible at the moment, but it's a really good ask. And I'm going to open a feature request for that as well, because I think it's very interesting and it's a very valid use case. But thank you, Robert, for your question. Okay, any other questions? Anything else that people would like to know? Wait. Uh, Okay, let's look at Hannah's question. Is there a way to have multiple different territories tag active at once if there are different territories for different products? Yes, there is. So you can create multiple maps here. And when you're setting the object settings, you can filter things and say, hey, for, I don't know, you can add a filter and say, for example, use enterprise only when company size uh, equals large cap. Okay, and that could be for the same thing for product. So you say product A uses map A, product B uses map B. Okay. Yes, we can make Robert asked about the feature request. Yes, we can make it. I kind of mentioned before you asked, but that's good. Yes, these slides are going to be sent out. They are also going to be sitting here on our Learning Labs on the webinar page. Okay, I'm going to send those after our call. Hannah is asking if for the distribution filters, at the current moment, we only have 20 fields, and she's asking if it's going to be expanded. So at the moment, no, we don't have any plans to expand it. What we recommend is, if you're using very advanced logic, is to create a formula field that sets to true and then use that on your distributor. So we see a couple of clients doing that, but feel free to ping me an email and we can add a feature request for that. Okay. But because if you have a valid use case, we're always looking. And the way feature requests work, we're gonna look at your ask, and then we're gonna make sure it's valid. It's in the way that we would like the tool to go to, and then develop it. We don't have a specific time frame at the moment, but we try to at least we look at all of them. I can guarantee you that, and we're always trying to improve everything here with distribution engine. Any other questions? Okay, so I think all the questions were answered. I just wanted to thank everyone that was part of this. I really appreciate you being here. It means a lot to us. It's really nice to have interaction with our customers. Feel free to drop me an email, question, ask me anything. You can book some time directly with me using the link that I'm going to post on chat here. So feel free to do so. It's nice to talk to everyone again, and thank you very much. I'll be closing the call now. And I agree, Grayson. Calendar is really nice. It really helps. It's awesome. And please feel free. We'll post this on our Learning Lab, and I will send an email out tomorrow, most probably, about the with the with the presentation and also the link to the recording and everything. So thanks everyone for joining, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye bye.